Today, many students go to college with numerous questions about their faith, yearning to know if the seed planted in them as a child is both true and practical. Using the miracle on the road to Emmaus as a model, young adult ministers conversed weekly for 3 months with college students about the most pressing questions they had about the Catholic faith. As they journeyed together virtually, something amazing happened. Doubts disappeared, fears faded, and Jesus revealed that He is still alive. Hearts Burning Within Us, the latest book from Patchwork Heart Ministry, is a result of that grace-infused conversation. It is the perfect back-to-school gift for recent high school graduates and current college students. Get your copy for them today at patchworkheart.org or by calling 424-704-3278. That's 424-704-3278. Welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. This is a show all about implanting hope in our hearts. I'm Bill Snyder, joined by my friend DeSantis. We're glad you're here for our uplifting conversation about faith and how it sustains our hearts through all the seasons of life. Thanks for walking with us.
Hello, and welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast on Patchwork Heart Ministry. My name is Ann DeSantis. And for this podcast, I'm actually by myself this time around, as my co-host Bill Snyder is on a vacation, but he'll be back soon. So we make a shout out to him and to his family, and hoping that they're enjoying this week. And so on this show, on Sowing Hope this evening, we have an amazing guest. We have Liz Montigny. She is a Catholic wife, mother, and she is also a Ziglar life coach. And we're going to talk a lot about that. So I want to welcome you. Thank you so much, Liz, for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you so much, Ann.
Yes, there's so much to talk about. And this podcast is all about faith. It's all about, as we say, sowing hope into broken hearts. And I think that the work that you're doing as a life coach, you're certainly helping people going from sort of feeling a little bit blah, like they need to have some kind of guidance with every aspect of their life, including their faith. Yeah. And you're able to offer that through the services that you do. But why don't we start out with you on a personal level? You're a wife, a mom of 3. So tell us a little bit about yourself and about your faith journey.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yes, so I am a wife and a mom to 3 boys. 2 go to Catholic school and 1 I homeschool. It's just better for him. And we live in Massachusetts. We always have. But we do love to travel. And yeah, I'm a cradle Catholic, as is my husband, and our faith is really important to our family. And, I think as we get older and grow, that faith deepens. And just recently, actually at Pentecost, I was enrolled in the Holy Spirit. So you know how there's different consecrations, to Mary and to Joseph. They have one for the Holy Spirit. And ever since then, he's been working overtime with me, I think, in planting, these seeds here and there, and ideas and just ways to serve others and, be an important part of the community and just build Catholic culture and community. I love. So
Yeah, you're doing an amazing job, and I just thank you so much. Now, I did forget to do your bio at the beginning, but I would love
it's
to read
okay.
it now just so that
Yeah.
people can get some information more about you and the work that you're doing. Is that Liz Montigny coaches Catholic women to go from daily chaos to simplicity so they can love life. She is a licensed Ziglar life coach, wife, mom to 3 boys. T, big earrings, living a non-toxic lifestyle, and creative evangelization are some of her other loves. You can find more about her at lizmontignycoaching.com. I just love some of the things that you have in that bio.
Yeah.
One of the things I love, and I think maybe you can talk about a little bit, is loving life. Isn't that important? Because I think we live in this world where things can become a little bit mundane for all of us, meaning we get up every day, we do our thing, we work, we make dinner. But sometimes for some of us, the joy becomes removed somehow.
Yes.
And I know that that's a big part of who you are and even why you do what you do. So tell us, what does it mean to you to love life, especially for those listening?
Yeah, great question. And I think you kind of nailed it, Anne. I think especially for women and moms who may have a business of their own, or even if they're working outside the home, or even if they are simply, stay-at-home moms, which is not simple at all. But I think we do sometimes we can get trapped in this mundaneness and not seeing the joy in the little moments. And sometimes we know there's more for us to do, but we feel stuck, and we need some guidance to kind of break out of that. So for me personally, that meant when my boys were younger and I was building a business, there was a lot going on, and I wasn't taking care of myself, and as a result, I was not the best mom. And so I really needed to dig deep into my mindset and some of the habits that I had created for myself, and really transform those bad habits to good habits. And I needed some guidance to do that. And when I looked for that, one of the things we ran into was, I met some great coaches, but I always felt a little bit misaligned, because I felt like I was missing that faith piece, which is so important to me. So, it was just important to me to be able to talk with somebody, my own language about, our faith and how that is such a big part of our lives. So given that and all the work that I was doing and the changes that I saw in myself from going from a reactive lifestyle to a proactive lifestyle, I just knew that there were other women out there who needed that. And so I was like, let's do it. Let's become a coach and let's help others do what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's so true. I love that whole idea of proactive versus reactive. And I think that we can take that same concept to so many areas of our lives, and I know that as Catholics and as people of faith and people who are open to the Holy Spirit, like you alluded to at the beginning with the consecration, sometimes, and I've read this a lot, that we need to wait for God, we need to be patient, we need to wait for Him to work in our lives. And I do agree with that completely, but I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to God, right? So that you can be proactive about whatever it is, right? Whether it be that you want your house to be a little more organized, or whether you want to go out and get some type of a job doing something, or a career, or ways that you're parenting your children, or the ways that you're following your faith. Proactiveness, I don't necessarily think is a negative thing. I think it's very positive, but we always have to remember to keep God at the very forefront of that, don't we?
Yes,
We always
absolutely.
have to keep God at the forefront. Talk a little bit about this idea of the non-toxic lifestyle. I thought that was kind of fascinating in your bio too, because I'm definitely on board with you there.
Yeah.
And I think it is a very positive thing in terms of, living out the most healthiest life. God wants us to be healthy. He wants us to live in good environments where we can thrive, where there's not a mess all over the place and we feel uncomfortable and lots of clutter and all that kind of stuff. So talk about that. What does that mean to you to have that non-toxic lifestyle.
And it's some of the things you just touched on, Anne. It's overall wellness. So for me, that means, products we use, products we come into our home, products we put onto our bodies, are clean and pure as they can be. But even like you said, Anne, decluttering. Like, I was talking with a fellow coach of mine, and she made a really good point. Clutter are unmade decisions. So what can you declutter in your life? Is that physical? That's usually the easiest place to start. And one of the spokes, if you will, on the wheel of life that I talk about in my coaching is the physical spoke. And it has everything to do with how persistent and consistent you are with fueling your body, because our bodies are our engines and they impact, our performance in every area of life. And it's also, our bodies are a gift from God. So let's treat them that way. So what we're eating, what we're putting on ourselves, how we're keeping our homes, it affects more than we think. And it's important to be intentional in those areas, I think.
And it really is. I agree. And I think also I'll just add on this note about that. When you're living in a family where there's the parents and the kids in the house, and maybe you have one person who's very, very neat and tidy and perfect in that, and then you have some that like to collect and what I've learned, I don't know if you agree with this, is that we can never force people, right? I mean, I'm living in a home right now with my husband and I and 2 adult daughters, right? They're over the age of 21, both of them. And so I think as parents, what you can do is you can teach, you can guide, right? But we can't always force. I don't know if you agree on that one, because not everybody is going to have that non-toxic sort of like decluttering kind of mentality, right? I mean, it's different for all of us, but yeah, it's a good thing to think about, though. I'm really glad you put that in your bio, and I know there's a lot more to talk about, so we'll end that piece there.
Right.
But I do think that it was an interesting part, and I agree with you completely that of non-toxicity, right?
Yeah.
What about your licensed Zig life coach? Now, that's really the main part of what you do, other than Catholic wife and mother, right? And tell us, first of all, like, how did that come about in your life? When did you decide to become the Ziglar life coach?
Yeah. So, touching on what I shared earlier, I got to a point in my life where I knew there was more that I could give, but I needed some guidance. And I knew the current schedule I had worked out, and even some of the choices I was making in my everyday habits were not intentional and were not really the best use of my time. And so in my search for ways to give myself some personal time, but also just be the best person I could be for my family and for my clients, I delved into coaching. And I was a coachee myself. And then as I worked through that, I realized how important it is. And I think how important, especially for Catholic women, to be able to have a person, a resource, a guide that they can go to work through all these pieces in our lives. We want to be in the best, mental, spiritual, and physical shape we can be in. And all of that affects our family and our financial and our personal and our career choices. And it can sound really overwhelming, but what I love about Ziglar coaching is it's really just about taking one simple choice at a time and building, from there. And it's really impactful and simple and repeatable and reliable to build your life this way. And I think that's really important, because I think especially for women, we tend to put pressure on ourselves to do all the things and be all the things and hustle here and hustle there. And that mentality did not align with my life. And I wanted to find a different way, and I did. And so that was huge. It really came out of my needs and my wants, and then realizing that other women could benefit from this as well.
Yeah, and I really love how you've sort of made that sort of target market area of, you say Catholic women, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, if someone's listening to this thinking, oh boy, I'm really interested, but I'm not per se a Catholic mother or a Catholic
Yeah.
wife, maybe they're a different faith in the Christian faith, or maybe
Yeah.
maybe there's a gentleman listening that's
Yeah.
thinking, wow, that sounds really interesting. So would you recommend someone else, or could you take on other clients other than the Catholic wife or mother?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the principles that I coach on are really for anyone. And part of someone who is listening who may be thinking about a coach, most coaches that you talk to will offer a complimentary session. I call mine a strategy session. We're trying to figure out the next right course for you. And during that session, you're going to know if we're the right fit for each other. And if we're not, that's okay. I still help people navigate to where they want to go. And if we are the right fit, we talk about all that. So it's really just my personal feeling in terms of, my target market. But like I said, these principles apply to anybody.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to mention your website right now because somebody's listening thinking, boy, I really want to check that out. Isn't it LizMontignyCoaching.com? Is that
Correct.
what it is?
Yes.
Okay, very, very good. So tell us now a little more about this. So somebody calls or somebody emails you and says, I want this session.
Yeah.
So can you take us through those steps of like what they can expect? Because I'm sure that somebody's listening that's interested in learning more.
Yes, absolutely. So that's right. You would just go to my website. There's a button right there, client application. You fill that out. I make sure you get a link directly to my calendar. And then you can pick the time that works best for you. And we do this initial consultation, if you will, over the phone. And we just talk about where you are now and where you want to go, and what's the gap to get there. And I love those sessions because even in that short amount of time, like I said, we can get a sense if we're the right fit for each other. But sometimes people have breakthroughs in just that call, which is really exciting for me and for them. And then if it's the right fit, we talk about all that, what the coaching program entails and all that good stuff. But it's really like no risk, it's time. It's a full hour for you to talk about anything you need to. So, no commitment. You don't have to feel like you're locked into something just because you're on my calendar.
Well, I can attest to that because you did that with me and I loved it. I learned so much. So I just recommend that to everybody. It's a free strategy session, right? And you'll get to know Liz, she gets to know you, and you can talk about what direction, and even if you decide you do this session, you say, you know what, I can't do it right at this exact time in my life.
Yeah.
You might want to do it later. You might want to do it and then tell a friend about it.
Yes.
It's also that giving season, isn't it? I mean, can this be something that a person can give to someone as a Christmas or holiday gift? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Absolutely. I mean, I certainly encourage my current and past clients to do that, for their friends. But absolutely, you could do that. You could simply just send that person my link. Say, hey, I heard Liz on the podcast. I know you're going through some stuff. I know you have big dreams, and maybe she can help you get there. And yeah, what an awesome gift that would be. Good idea.
Yeah, I agree. It is that giving season, isn't it? I know that Giving Tuesday, because we're taping this actually end of November before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Giving Tuesday is coming up for that November 30th for nonprofits. I just want to throw that out there also for Patchwork Heart Ministry, where where I'm a podcast host and Bill Snyder is the founder. Do consider patchworkheart.org for the Giving Tuesday as well. And even if it's after Giving Tuesday, right? It's like a whole month thing, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, December is like giving month, so it doesn't have to be November 30th. It can be any time in December because I believe this one airs anyway in December. So sorry that I brought that up before the or after the fact, right? But it doesn't really matter all that much because you can always check it out. And talk about creative evangelization. You mentioned that in your bio. I mean, I love to evangelize too. I happen to work for a nonprofit, and I thank you that you actually interviewed me for the St. Raymond Onatus Foundation and my work as even a podcast host.
Yeah.
So talk about that. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, thank you. So I have a theater background. And so I love the arts. And I think there are so many ways that we can evangelize through the arts, whether it's performing or visual. And over the years, I have built this little, I don't know, I guess I could call it a production company for myself, where I've written some plays based on the mysteries of the Rosary. And they are one-woman shows. And so I will go to churches or organizations and present these plays. And it's just another way to bring people closer to Jesus in kind of a gentle way, right? Because when you see a play or a movie, or you go to a museum and view paintings, I mean, there's a lot that's going on interiorly that people don't know about, and that's kind of working on your soul. And I think evangelizing through the arts is kind of a gentle way to spread the word, right? So it's something I have a lot of fun with, and of course it's a passion of mine. So, and I'm just fortunate to be able to do that when I can on my own schedule, and I could just build around what I'm already doing with my family and my work. So.
Well, I could see that you are a creative person. I know we've had this conversation before because now I don't have the theater background, but I mean, one of the things I do on a very part-time basis is a little bit of acting, like commercial acting for Philadelphia area, print ads and commercials and things like that. Doesn't require that much acting, but it's a little bit of an income to bring into the family once in a blue moon when I get an email or a call with that invitation to be a part of a project or something. So I know you understand that too, being that you are a creative personality. Are there any other ways that, because you do have that creative spark, that you exercise that in your life, whether it be with your boys or in some other way, like house decorating? I just wondered.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually trying to do a lot of different things in my own parish. Recently, I led a book club. Coming up, we're planning, a lot of different feast day events. So, just kind of that stuff that just helps help us all be in community in a fun way, but also, just celebrating our faith and all the beautiful things about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's good to hear that when you can take that creativity and you can bring it to your parish, that's a great way for us to be a part of mission, isn't it? I mean, when you take your gifts and say, how can I make a difference with my talents and my gifts,
right?
For whatever those gifts are, and so I just commend you on that and on your family. Is there anything else that you want to share with, like, some upcoming news or events that are happening in end of 2021 or early 2022 and beyond? Because I'm sure that our audience would love to know.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so definitely go to my site, lizmontignycoaching.com. There's an option there to sign up for my newsletter. You will just get weekly inspiration into your inbox from me, no spam. And then that's how I share my free workshops. I offer a free monthly workshop. It's usually at the beginning of the month. So I do have one coming up. I think I selected Tuesday, December 7th, and we're going to talk about working through all this. Your to-do list is too long and you're getting burnt out, especially this time of year, at the end of the year, and with Advent and Christmas, things can kind of feel like I got a lot to do. How can I work through this? So we're actually going to have a workshop time on that, as opposed to like a webinar and me just talking to you. So I always send resources and the replay with those workshops. So definitely go to my site, lizmontignycoaching.com, sign up for it, and that way you'll always know what's coming up.
Yeah, I get your emails all the time, and I love it. I just love to get that reminder from you and staying in touch. I think that what you're doing is really and truly awesome. And I'm a little sad that Bill Snyder, my co-host, wasn't able to join us, but that doesn't mean that when you come back next time around, which I'm sure that we can do in the future, because Sowing Hope is already up to like over 170 episodes. We are really
wow.
growing in that way. Yeah,
Fantastic.
we're growing.
Yeah.
We're growing a lot. So, so it's a real blessing. But yeah, I'm sure that you'll come back again.
Thank you.
And so did you have any final words before we end?
Oh, just thank you so much, Anne. I love this. I love this time together. And yeah, Sowing Hope. What a beautiful title. That's what we need to do in the world, right?
That is what we need to do in the world. So Liz Montigny, thank you so much. Again, LizMontignyCoaching.com. Make sure you sign up for that newsletter and stay in touch with her. And so for Bill Snyder and myself, where we sow hope into broken hearts with every podcast, we will see you all next time. God bless.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart Radio. For more information about this podcast and our ministries, visit our websites, patchworkheart.org and DeSantis.com. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter at PWH Ministry or DeSantis 2.